Welcome back to the EJ Ward FieldView training series. In this video, we're going to be going over an overview of how an on-premise server system is set up. So the first thing that we have is the type of configurations there are for an on-premise, because there are different ones. So first we have a single server. So you have the web application server, you have the communication server, and the database server are all on a single server. The next one that we have is a dual server environment where typically you're going to have your web and your communication inside of one server, and then the third server is going to be your database server, and then you can split all three of those if you want, so each one gets their own server. This really depends on the size of system, and you will have a salesman and your project managers go over kind of what is best for you. The last thing that we have is a load balanced. So load balanced means, let's say I have one web server, I have two servers that are hosting as a web server, and when I go to that website I might go to either of those. So if you have a very large organization, you probably want to have load balancing between your web servers so that you don't have any slowness going between it, because you might have a couple hundred people actually logging into one server. That way you just have about 50 or 60 logging into each, and it makes things a little bit quicker and a lot easier on the network and the servers themselves. The next thing that we have is a communication overview with this, and this is kind of the last part that we have here. Is the first thing that you have is the vehicle and the actual dispenser itself. So the next thing that we have, and we're going to kind of show you how all of this connects together, and that's your actual servers in the network. So this is your server inside of your organization as well as your network. So we just have that little bar showing there that's showing your actual network. Next thing that we have is all the PCs that are connected to that network so that they can actually get to the server. And then we have all of the fueling information, or all of the fueling itself. So we have our fuel control terminal, we have our tank, and the tank is hooked up to the network if it has an ATG or a TLS hooked to it. And then we have the wireless AP. So here we have an IoT terminal, and I have it here that we can show either TCP or Wi-Fi. So it has the wire that's going to the network, but it can also communicate with the wireless API, and that's either or. You can do either or those. And then we also have the gray Wi-Fi connects to the gray Wi-Fi, so that's a regular Wi-Fi, and then the blue will show what goes here in just a second. So now we have our hose module. So our hose module, this little red line is showing where it would be installed at, which is on the actual dispenser itself on the end of the hose. And that is actually going to talk through 2.4 gigahertz signal straight to one of the antennas on our terminals. And this is with the Ward 4, the Ward 3, or the IoT. And then we also have our tag that communicates with it as well. And the tag, you can see, is put there by the actual filler door on the vehicle. And then the last thing that we have with this is the Ward 4 CANceiver. And that CANceiver, you can see, has a gray little Wi-Fi signal because it talks over Wi-Fi. So it's in the front of the vehicle. It's going to be talking to the Wi-Fi access. The tag itself is going to be talking to the hose module, which is going to be talking to your Ward 4 FCT. And all this information gets back to your servers through the network on either TCP or Wi-Fi, as well as your tank information from your TLS or your ATG. And then you'll be able to connect to it with your computers to actually get all the data through FieldView. And that's really how our whole ecosystem works with an on-premise server. This concludes the video on our communication overview for an on-premise server. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.